Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is REGANELITE here with another episode of the Snowflake Watch the Date in episode 20. This is 20 episodes in of the Snowflake Watch the Date and time. This is 26th of June 2024 at 8 p.m. UK time. We are dual streaming live on YouTube, youtube.com/REGANELITE and on twitch.tv/REGANELITE1. For references, for those who know. Hello, for those who are here live, hope you guys are doing well. No live poll here tonight, but there will be a poll tomorrow morning on the YouTube community post for you guys, for those on YouTube who want to have a look at that. We're going to be covering quite a few different topics. So the first one we'll probably look at is the post office one. This one's quite infuriating. The person who was on this particular person. And then we're going to be looking at, we'll look at bits of Julian Assange and Gaza, and if we have time, we'll look at some general election stuff as well. We will not be covering any of the BBC debate tonight. However, like I said on my YouTube post, for those who don't know, if you want to watch along with me tonight, before I rewatch it live tomorrow morning, you're more than welcome to do so on Discord. So what I'm going to be doing, guys. So there will not be an after chat particular. What it's going to be is basically, if you want to watch along with me, you're more welcome to do so. But basically, I want to just watch it basically. So if anyone wants to do that, you're more than welcome to. So it won't be an after chat this time tonight. I may still do one later in the week, but there's no guarantee of that. So the gang is here as well. I know people are still asking me where the lava lamp is. I do apologise. I'm definitely not going to be able to do it tomorrow, and I'm definitely not going to be able to do it Friday because I'm away on the weekend, so I won't have time to follow it up on the weekend because I've got plans. So, and Friday, obviously, I need to cover the weekend with content, so that's not going to be able to happen. But Pingu, Cash Dummy, and Ollie are all here. They're all here, so that's very, very good. I've put my water bottle in the fridge for a while, so that will help. Oh, that's nice. That helps keep me cool for a bit. So I literally just pulled it out like 10 minutes before we went live, which is good. Yeah, so who have we got here tonight? So Stephen Banker is here. Good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Jao is here as well. Good to see you. I hope you're doing well. One Angry Pagan is also here. Yeah, I don't expect it to be a busy on this live stream tonight. I expect people to be elsewhere because they'll want to watch the BBC debate. Ben Shaw, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Or I expect most people to disappear after quarter past. That is for sure. So... so where we go. So this is the main video I wanted to cover here. This is from Channel 4 about this man here. His name is Alex Thompson, and the man who created the Horizon system at the heart of the post office scandal, guys, tells the inquiry that he still maintains that it works well. I kid you not, guys. It is absolutely outrageous. Hi, Casper. Good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, this is really going to infuriate you guys.
The man who created the Horizon system at the heart of the post office scandal tells the inquiry he still maintains it worked well. We'll hear live from one of the sub-postmasters whose life was ruined. A former Fujitsu engineer who helped to design the flawed Horizon IT system has told the post office inquiry it had been working well.
It's working well, guys. It was working perfectly all right. So basically, no, everybody else is wrong, but he was right. Because he created it, it has to be perfect, and there were no flaws whatsoever.
Gareth Jenkins said he'd been confident that any bugs in the system were being fixed quickly, and he insisted he had not understood what it meant to be an expert witness and had never been told about the legal obligations that entailed.
Welcome to the real world. I've got a feeling that this man has no understandings of what it's like for ordinary people. Stu Viking President, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well.
Our chief correspondent Alex Thompson was at the hearing.
No. Sorry, not Alex Thompson. It was, this man.
Like so many unseen for years, unspeaking when finally seen.
Gareth Jenkins, why didn't you tell sub-postmasters about the bugs?
I swear by Almighty God.
He took the oath, then a major departure, alone among key post office and Fujitsu witnesses. No apology, No expression of regret for his part in sending so many innocent people to prison. Gareth Jenkins, the man who twice asked for immunity from prosecution and was twice denied by this inquiry.
I wonder why it was denied. I wonder why. This really sounds to me like this just sounds to me like someone who really should go to prison in complete denial that he has done anything wrong here. And it looks like that this man is possibly being made the scapegoat here.
He denied too that he was the chief architect of Horizon, and then a jaw-dropper. No clue what caused the entire colossal catastrophe.
Oh!
I'm not sure that even today I understand what bugs actually did cause the problems that people have suffered from.
He disagreed with Judge Peter Fraser, who'd ruled that Jenkins' Horizon computer system was seriously, obviously flawed.
Would you agree that Mr. Justice Fraser concluded, firstly, that legacy Horizon was not remotely robust?
I accept that that's what he said.
Yes. Do you accept that Horizon Online was susceptible to accounting flaws? That's what he...
Again, that is what he said. I think he's maybe putting it too strongly.
Wow. What a bastard. What a bastard. This man. What a bastard. Like, for him to say that when the evidence is blatantly clear, when so many innocent people have suffered as a result of this system, and for him to say that in this inquiry, with some of the victims actually there as well, which is even more endearing. Wow.
His evidence littered with don't knows, can't remember, didn't ask, wasn't told, wasn't interested.
I wasn't that interested in the whys.
But the key revelation was that the Post Office's central prosecution expert witness, whose evidence in part sent innocent sub-postmasters to prison, had no idea what an expert witness was.
You gave evidence without an understanding that you might be an expert witness in the legal sense.
Correct.
And that you were therefore lacking an understanding that you were subject to the duties imposed upon an expert witness, including duties of disclosure.
Correct.
On and...
Either this guy is absolutely bloody clueless, or he's just trying to flop this off in any way, shape, or form. You know what? And I don't know if you guys saw earlier when he was talking. You could see the smile in his face, like he honestly doesn't care. Like, this man really does not care whatsoever about the damage that this has caused for innocent people here. That's when I saw that really infuriated me here. It's just absolute, like, at least I know one or two of them were faking in some of their inquiries, but you felt at least there was some compassion. There was none from this man.
And on it went. He said nobody at the post office ever briefed him, nor, he said, did Fujitsu, who employed him. Literally, he didn't know what he was doing.
Are you... this is bullshit. 100% bullshit. This is bullshit. I'm sorry. But you cannot tell me that you, the man who created the Horizon system, tell me that you don't know anything. It's not possible. You just cannot say that. I'm sorry. You just cannot... I cannot buy this shit.
Seema Misra, one of several sub-postmasters sent to prison, in part because of Gareth Jenkins' evidence. He said he was under pressure to make out, falsely, that Seema Misra was stealing. She was pregnant when imprisoned. Seema Misra was at the inquiry today.
End of the day, justice will be definitely for each and every victim proper compensation and proper accountability. Whoever was responsible at the post office, Royal Mail, Fujitsu, we need to question them, we need to put them behind the bar, like ours, into the prison without any facts and evidence.
Lawyers for the sub-postmasters astonished at the expert witness who didn't know what an expert witness was.
Experts giving evidence to the court are very, very strictly regulated as to what they can properly say. And Gareth Jenkins professed innocence of all those duties in connection with the evidence that he'd given in all those cases, many of which had the consequence of people going to prison.
When you read
Absolutely crazy. Oh, rightly so, Stephen Banker. I mean, her life was completely destroyed by him and other people involved in this. But for me, it's just me. His reactions speak more volumes speak more volumes than his words. His reactions, his facial expressions, that tells you just how different in a world that some of these people are compared to us. Simon says 55, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Just a reminder of you guys, I'm not covering the BBC Live debate tonight. I know some people may head out doing so. If you guys, I will be covering it tomorrow morning at 10 a.m, not 12 p.m, 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. So if you guys want to join me tomorrow morning and watch the debate with me, then you're more than welcome to do so. And after this live stream, guys, I will be rewatching it on Discord. Not rewatching this, sorry. Rewatching the BBC Live debate on Discord because I wanna watch it beforehand before I watch it second time, because that will give you better understandings and whatnot. So if you guys want to join me for that, please do so as well.
The Post Office inquiry will hear 3 more days of evidence from Gareth Jenkins, more time in the box than any other witness.
We're joined now by former sub-postmaster Lee Castleton, who tried to defend himself against false accusations by the Post Office that he'd stolen money and was subsequently bankrupted.
Absolutely outrageous. Absolutely outrageous. Like another person here having to, trying to cover himself and lost everything.
Lee Castleton, I wonder what your reaction was to what you heard today from Gareth Jenkins.
Hi, Kathy. It's just the same, I mean, it's always amazes me how every single time someone gives evidence to the inquiry, they give all of the positives that help them, but never able to give the truth about the things that were hidden, the things that they didn't say, the things that, when you look back, you can see would have made such a difference to people like myself, Seema, and everybody, and those truths never came out.
And when he says, the Horizon system, which he created, was working well, do you think he, in a way, can't face up to, what he created that went wrong? He's sort of in denial.
Sounds a lot like, about a certain prime minister we have who just won't accept the realities of what they're responsible for, like taking up ownership and responsibilities for their own actions. Feels very familiar, doesn't it, guys?
Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, it's not really good for him to say, that it was never working. I knew it wasn't working, and therefore I was completely wrong. He needs to defend his position, and it's like giving expert evidence. He says that he was never told that he was giving expert evidence, but all the way down the line, you can hear all the things that he didn't say. He must have known not to say. If you're giving open and honest answers about the unequivocal goods and bads of anything, you have to give bads, but there was never any, when you look at the evidence that was given, you never hear any of the bad sides, and never the negatives throughout all of the original evidence.
Yeah, not going to play the rest of it because it's just more of this interview, but I just wanted to hear, obviously, one of the reactions from one of the sub-postmasters here. But he's going to be this is obviously one from yesterday. This from Channel 4. So I haven't even caught up on what happened today. I imagine it's more waffle, denying everything, waffle. I didn't know, or I wasn't asked, or something. Yeah, it's probably more of that stuff here. But this one here, I wanted to play here from, once again emphasising, Seema's story is one of the most difficult to listen to. She was sent to prison when she was 8 weeks pregnant. Giving birth wearing an electronic tag, Gareth Jenkins was an expert witness in her case with a direct role in that wrongful prosecution.
Seema's story is one of the most difficult to listen to. She was sentenced to prison when she was 8 weeks pregnant with her second child. She gave birth eventually wearing an electronic tag, and Gareth Jenkins, the former Fujitsu engineer who's been appearing here at the public inquiry, was an expert witness in her case with a direct role in that wrongful prosecution.
Oh, did he now? Oh, did he forget about... I wonder if he forgot about that too, if that was the case.
Seema has not accepted his apology. She's here with me today. Seema, when we spoke yesterday, you told me how difficult coming here is. I've seen it every time you're here has been difficult. So why do you keep coming back, and why for Gareth Jenkins?
To get the right answers.
What are the right answers for you?
Well, to hear, like, my main reason to be here was yesterday, to hear why he did what he did. But it didn't go that way.
And when it comes to his apology and what you've heard so far, has it gone any way in giving you the closure that you're looking for?
Not at all. I read his apologies. It doesn't make sense at all. Like, he's still believing that Horizon worked properly. So what he's apologizing for?
I have to say, I really do admire this woman for going every day after all what she went through, the ordeal that she has gone through. To obviously, she obviously seeks justice, but for her to sit there every day listening to these people, hearing the apologies and whatnot, I know it's absolutely, it must be really, like, I credit where credit is due for her to sit and go through all this. I can't imagine what she's feeling inside, but she's, you know, it's pretty remarkable, I have to say.
And so, after you've heard his testimony yesterday, do you think that you might hear anything that will change your mind the next 3 days?
Oh, don't know. We still have 3 days to go. So hopefully, get the right answers. But let's see.
Seema, there's been an outpouring of support for you. I know you know this. Your barrister, Paul Marshall, posted a picture of the two of you together, and he wrote, "When I first heard your story, heartbreaking story in 2020, I could not have imagined how drastically the position would change. A privilege to be with her today, a remarkable woman." So many have said that about you. What does that support mean to you?
It means a lot. I said thank you very much. It means a lot. When I'm feeling down, so all these encouraging words, it just picks us back up and give us energy to fight again. So it means a lot.
Does it go any way in restoring some of the pain you felt? And also, I know you've talked a lot about the shame that you can't let go of.
It helped me to restore the faith in the system, because, okay, there are baddies, there are goodies as well. So that's what helped me. I remember when Paul Marshall came to me, that time I didn't have the faith in the system. When he came up, I said, yes, there's a good lawyers as well. Then Flora Page, Paul Marshall. These are the people who put my faith back into the system at Henry.
And finally, I know your husband, Devinder, is here as well. What does it mean to have him by your side?
It's like we are together, like you say, like a one soul, two bodies. That's what it is. It's like a support to each other.
All right, Seema, thanks.
And her, like so many others, I wish I had the, I wish I had the same faith with her about the justice system. I will say, obviously, when these public inquiries do come around, there are good people really put in these places, very strong independent people that really call this out. We've seen that from some of these people, some of these people holding these politicians, really holding them to the fire, especially with the COVID inquiry. We've seen some of the feet really being put to the fire on some of the questioning, and here as well. I don't have as much faith as she does with the justice system, considering the damage that it is in right now. But I'm also optimistic that we can have a better justice system. But obviously, guys, there will be more on this. So do keep your eyes out on this. I know there's so many other things going on with the general election right now, but I think that considering the person that's on the stand, I think it was very important to highlight what this man is doing and the damage that he is causing. Speaking of another person, is a man that has been freed. Finally, Julian Hassan. I covered a story on Tuesday on the World's News Round. I'm absolutely delighted that he has been freed. However, I'm not happy that he still had to plead in order to get out. Now, this is a very interesting piece here. I just wanted to play this clip here. This is from... I don't really want to play too many... I didn't want to play too many of them because obviously it's a very one-sided And I do say one side because obviously there are some people out there who think it was justified for him to be in the actions. I don't agree with that. I generally think that Hassan was doing the right thing, but some people would disagree. But this is from Declassified's Kenneth Mack explains the nature of Hassan's plea deal and how we got here, guys. So let's just hear what he had to say on the plea deal exactly for people.
What I mean.
Good evening, Larry the Cat. Good to see you, buddy. And good evening to anyone else who I haven't said hello to them. Apologies.
It's obvious that the case was a mess and violated all sorts of constitutional principles and other press freedom issues. But that hearing was I don't know what happened with the lawyers, but it was quite clear that the case was weak, and that if he had an appeal. And that was played out over 2 days, and they were allowed to argue the substantive issues, then the US would have probably lost. In that case, Julian would have left Belmarsh and been a free man in the UK with the whole circus that would have been. Plus, they wouldn't have been able to save face because they'd have lost. So this kind of gives them a way out.
So if that was the case, would it have been worth them sticking and fighting to their guns, I think is the question. And I think the answer would have been no, because at this, when you think about at this point how long he's been in Belmarsh prison, how long he had been trapped in the Ecuadorian embassy before that, he had been cooped up and held up for such a long period, guys. It's been such a long time for him. As of right now, he's a free man in Australia, completely free. And he can completely say what he wants, and we're going to hear from somebody just on that as well. Good to see you, number 3. Hope you're doing well. But it's interesting that the U.S. government was actually on the verge of losing this case, and instead worked out a plea deal, and they got one in the end.
The plea to one count, which, by the way, is just. I was just reading the quote that he said to the judge, which was, "I was talking to my source." About obtaining classified information, and I didn't realize that was a violation of the First Amendment. It's not a violation of the First Amendment, and also what national security reporters do every day in the US and the UK, or good ones do. I mean, that is what you're taught about in journalism school. I've been to journalism school. Talking to a source and trying to get information out of them is a major part of journalism. So when I read that quote, I was like, it's so crazy that this case has got as far as it has, and it's so embarrassing for, I think, primarily the British justice system, because the US had their interest to try and get him, right? And the case was weak and massively violated all these principles that I talked about. But in that case, the institution or the organization that should have protected Julian, and hopefully you'd hope would protect any journalist coming under persecution from a foreign power, would be the British justice system. But they've basically agreed with every dot and comma of the original Trump indictment.
Well, because it was America, it's a different situation, and we know. I think I think everyone knows that because this was America, because of who it was, because of what he did, and obviously the British government were under a lot of pressure to extradite him to the US. They were under a lot of pressure to do so. However, I think if it wasn't for many organizations out there, and obviously this one and many, many others who kept going through every single legal loophole, every single legal appeal, every single way that they could to stop him being extradited, is what stopped him in the end going. And I think a part of it, he says the British justice system failed. I think, yeah, if this had happened, if we had a much weaker British justice system, like the ones, because we know with the Conservatives and the likes of Reform and that want to dismantle and our justice system and that. I think if we had a much weaker justice system, he probably would have been sent there. So I in part of me feels that if it wasn't for the justice system we have, he probably would have been freed, because they wouldn't have had the appeals and the rights to be able to defend him in the way that they did. So in that regard, I slightly disagree with him, but Kenneth Matt has been much more on top of this than I ever have. But I will obviously say, like I've said before, like the man has just gone through gone through way too much here. So this was today. Stella Assange addresses the world press as he returns home.
I wish to thank the Prime Minister, Albanese, the officials who have been working in DFAT on securing Julian's release. I'd also like to thank the Australian people who have made this possible, because without their support, there would not be the political space to be able to achieve Julian's freedom. And that support is across the board. I thank the opposition for also supporting Julian's release. It took all of them. It took millions of people. It took people working behind the scenes, people protesting on the streets for days and weeks and months and years. And we achieved it.
I honestly didn't actually ever think this would happen, guys. I honestly did not think that. I honestly did not think this would actually happen. I honestly did not think he would be released against all of this. I honestly thought that either two things were going to happen: he was going to spend the rest of his life in prison, or he was going to get extradited to the US and die. That's what I generally thought that was going to happen. Like, no matter what. I generally felt that, because I just felt that the US had such an iron grip on this situation that they weren't going to let this go. But then I remember a US reporter asking Joe Biden when he was he was having an audience with the Japanese Prime Minister visiting Washington, and I remember he was asked about Julian Assange, a question as he was walking past. And I can't remember the exact quotation, but it was something that he basically said, we're looking into it as a means of, are they actually seriously considering letting him go? Are they considering something? And I didn't really think about much of it at that time, because I just thought that maybe he's just saying something to appease the supporters and that. But I think as well, there will be those inside the US government. Well, whatever we might think, will be absolutely furious about this. They will be furious about that. There will be lots of people within the US government and certain departments that will be furious that he is freed, because this man exposed the US government for what they were doing in Iraq and many other things that he has exposed, and they are furious about this. But what he did was right. We had a right to know what he did. What the US government was doing. What they were doing was abhorrent. Like, literally, I'm not going to share it here, but I've on the bookmark clips here. But the footage in Iraq of them literally shooting people, video footage of it. I don't know if you guys remember the footage. It just screamed against everything that America and it is so-called freedom and democracy and everything stands for. Anyway, let her finish speaking.
Julian wanted me to sincerely thank everyone. He wanted to be here. But you have to understand what he's been through. He needs time.
Yes.
He needs to recuperate. And this is a process. I ask you, please, to give us space, to give us privacy, to find our place, to let our family be a family, before he can speak again at a time of his choosing.
And I generally do hope he speaks at some point in the future. Yeah, he needs to get away from the limelight. Absolutely, what he's been through, he just needs to be left alone with his wife and kids. Like, please don't. I really plead with the media to please don't harass the man. Please don't harass the man. Please leave him in peace. Like I really do hope he does speak out before his time. I don't know when he will, but I generally do hope he speaks out before his time. I just wanted to play this one. Well, I've got one or two more, but I wanted to play this one here as well. I think this one's quite important here.
I think it's best Barry speaks to the chance to play deal.
There are absolutely no restrictions on Julian. The case against him is over. There is no gag order. There are no other restrictions. He is going to be able to go back to whatever life he chooses to build with Stella and his family. The negotiations were a protracted process that went on for several months, sort of in fits and starts. We were not close to any sort of a resolution until a few weeks ago, when the Department of Justice re-engaged, and there have been very intense negotiations over the last few weeks. One thing we were very clear about was that any resolution would have to end this matter, and that Julian would be free, that he was not going to do additional time in prison, he was not going to do time under supervision, he was not going to do time under a gag order. So that was one absolute requirement. Another significant point of negotiation was where the plea would be taken. Julian did not want to come to the United States in any form. Ultimately, obviously, we negotiated Saipan under conditions where he would be released in the UK. He would come to Saipan not as a prisoner of the United States or the United Kingdom, and that we would come in and leave on the same day, which is exactly what happened.
That's as high as I can do it. Tories don't get tasered.
Other provisions of the plea that were very significant. The United States agreed that they are not going to bring any other charges against Julian for any conduct, any publications, any news gathering, anything at all that occurred prior to the time of the plea. So even if he had prevailed in the extradition proceeding, that would have just resolved this case. This resolves any possible case that the United States would bring against Julian for any subject matter. So that was obviously very significant to it.
Yeah. So, what we just heard there. Well, I mean, we knew some of this already. We knew that they didn't want to have this case in the US because of obviously the fears of what was going to happen. And they obviously just wanted him to be freed. Good to see you anyway, Tori Stoker. Hope you're doing well. He didn't want this being done on US soil, and they found obviously the island of Saipan, even though it was close to Australia, but under US jurisdiction, so they were able to finalize the case there. And obviously they said they wanted him freed, and obviously the argument that they were making was, well, he's already been serving time in Belmarsh prison for God knows how long already. Like has he not suffered enough, basically, here? This and the thing is that worries me is that the possibility that this could guys, that this could very well lead into future ones as well. Let me just, before I play this clip, I just want to make sure that I can democracy. I just want to make sure that I can put this up. So this is an old speech of his. Can I hold on one second? It's an old speech from his. This was in London. I can't remember quite when, but There's some really powerful points here. I'm going to have to turn off my camera for this, guys, just so you guys can see this one.
Democracies, or the pseudo-democracies that we are evolving into. Wars are a result of lies. The Vietnam War and the push for US involvement was a result of the Gulf of Tonkin incident. A lie.
Here, here.
The Iraq War famously is a result of lies. Wars in Somalia are a result of lies. The Second World War and the German invasion of Poland was a result of carefully constructed lies. That is war by media. Let us ask ourselves, of the complicit media, which is the majority of the mainstream press, what is the average death count attributed to each journalist? When we understand that wars come about as a result of lies peddled to the British public and the American public and the publics all over Europe and other countries, then who are the war criminals? It is not just leaders, it is not just soldiers, it is journalists. Journalists are war criminals. And why one might think that that should lead us to a state of despair, that the reality that is constructed around us is constructed by liars, is constructed by people who are close to those that they are meant to be policing. It should lead us also to an optimistic understanding, because if wars can be started by lies, truth can be started, peace can be started by truth.
Peace can be started by truth. Very powerful words there from Julian. I wanted to share that that one with you guys. I don't know when that speech was made, because it doesn't say it from the tweet there, but I wanted to share that one at least. Yeah. And again, for those who don't remember as well, here, this is the last one I've got on this guy before we take a little break from all of this. When exposing a crime is treated as committing a crime, you are being ruled by criminals.
It's the big picture of the war, that nearly all the deaths are in incidences that kill just one or two people. A little girl on the street who would, in a yellow dress, who would frequently go to collect candy and so on from US troops. One day a tank goes past, and for an inexplicable reason a shooter comes out of the US tank and blows her away. There are just so many of these incidences. You know, I spoke before about checkpoint killings in one incident. After the car was shot up and examined according to these internal US military reports, the man killed was a doctor delivering a pregnant woman to the hospital. We see a very interesting example of a town of 40,000 on the Syrian border, whose population went from 40,000 to 2,000 over a year or so. And that town and that circumstance has not been reported in any, not been reported at all that we could find in the mainstream media, or in fact in the alternative media.
There's some really powerful truths there. There's a lot of things that are happening in the world, guys, that we don't.
It's the big picture.
There's a lot of things happening in the world that we honestly don't know about unless it's reported. I'm not going to play this one, guys, but this he speaks about the 1915 Armenian genocide as well. There was that documentary, and well, I'm not going to play that one for you guys. I'm not going to play the clip there, but that clip, the clip there of when innocent people were targeted by the US soldiers, and I don't know how true this bit is, so I would say take it with a pinch of salt here, and how Hillary Clinton, the assassin Clinton, wanted to get rid of him apparently. Can we just drone this guy? Clinton openly inquired, offering a simple ready to silence Assange and other WikiLeaks via a planned military drone strike, according to the State Department sources. Which the statement drew laughter in the room, which quickly died off, apparently. I don't know how true that is, but yeah. But hopefully this is, I'm pretty sure this will be the last time we'll talk about Julian Assange for a good while now, and he can finally rest, because I think he does deserve a bit of rest, if I'm honest, because yeah, it's been pretty brutal, to say the least, for him. Just going to see what you guys are saying in the chat. I hate lies. They never lead to anything good, and the lied to is the worst feeling you can have. Harsh truths are better than comfortable lies. It wasn't just US crimes, but they got the attention. Yeah. Yeah, that was true. Number 3 says, my concern now is that other journalists and whistleblowers think twice about challenging authorities. Well, the prime example of that is what's happening in Gaza. Number 3, with regards to that question, we've seen a huge amounts of journalists who have sadly lost their lives as a result of covering the atrocities that are taking place inside the Gaza Strip. We don't hear much about it in other conflicts as much, but we hear about it a lot more inside Gaza. And I generally am under the belief that many journalists are specifically targeted because they are exposing the truth of what's happening inside the Gaza Strip. Jal says, in my opinion, one of the reasons for this conclusion to the case is because the US foiled every attempt to extradite Assange, and they had to face face somehow. It is entirely possible that could have been the case of it in the end, that they just couldn't get him to the US. They wanted to get him so badly, and they knew. And I said this before, and I said this again. If he had stepped foot on US soil, they would have had him. They would have taken, like, no matter what promises or whatever. Yeah, the fact they would have him, they would just. I could just see them waterboarding him, torturing him, beating him, to an absolute pulp because he exposed things, exposed the US government, hurt their reputation, hurt them real badly for doing what they did. I can generally see that, guys. I can generally see them doing that to him, no matter what they would. I could see them making all these fake promises, and then as soon as he set foot on US soil, no, they just take him and drag him away, make him disappear into nothing, because they want to set an example. That's how I felt they wanted to do. They really wanted to set an example. But I hope it is the case that they just couldn't get it. And there, so guys, I'm just going to take, we're about 54 minutes in. I'm just going to take a little break from all this. We're going to go into, we're going to be looking into Gaza next, which is obviously, I know nobody's looking forward to that one. But just a reminder, obviously, guys, I will be looking at I'll be watching along. If tomorrow morning, I'll be covering the BBC debate that's taking place now between Kier Starmer and Rishi Sunak. So if you guys want to join me tomorrow morning, you're more than welcome to watch along. Or if you want to, after this live stream, I'm going to be I just need to find a source to watch the BBC live debate between Kier Starmer and Rishi Sunak. So you guys are more than welcome to watch along with me there. But just going to break the ice a little bit with this funny video, guys, from Exploding Heads. It's an old one, but I hope you guys enjoy this one. It's from Colin. It's from Portsmouth. What's he got to say now?
Colin from Portsmouth is on the line. Hello, Colin.
I am delighted, Anthony. Absolutely delighted. Why wasn't this announced before?
What's happened, Colin? You sound worryingly happy.
He's finally standing. Farage, the saviour.
Yeah.
He didn't want to stand last week because helping out America was more patriotic than helping Britain.
Yes.
But now Trump's a convicted felon. He's shown he but even the worst mistakes,
Yeah.
that's the right thing to do.
Just like Brexit.
No, not that. The people have spoken on Brexit, Anthony. You
Hmm.
know this. No, Farage says what people are thinking.
Yeah, he says what 12% of people are thinking. Absolutely.
And what 60% of Conservatives are privately thinking.
True.
Clacton will be lucky to have him. He'll dilute their right-wing vote like Great British sewage water in Ribena.
That's right. Clacton's in Essex, isn't it? So, yeah, good luck to him.
He's from Kent, I believe. He doesn't
Kent,
live in
he's from
Essex,
Kent.
but,
Mhm.
hold on.
What?
Oh, my God.
What's that, Colin? What's happened?
Coming over to Essex from outside, he's an immigrant.
Well, I think it's expat, Colin, technically, and I'm not sure it counts county to county.
It counts. He's increasing net migration when he would have decreased it by going to America. Just looking at a map here, it's not easy going from Kent to Essex.
No, it's not, is it? Easiest way is by sea, Colin, or the Thames Estuary.
He'll be coming by boat.
I think he will.
A small boat, and he'll be taking the job of a talented, native, Essex-born reform candidate. Does he even speak the language? Why didn't he stop in the first safe constituency?
To be fair, I think that is the first safe constituency. Colin, you okay? Colin! Colin!
Anyway, Anthony, thanks for having me on. Love to the family.
Love to the family, Colin. Love to the family.
I haven't heard from Lee Anderson in a while. It's a bit weird, isn't it?
Oh, that's a good old one there from an old one there, guys. Matt, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Do you think it's a bit of a coincidence that we are looking at a change in government in the UK and US and Assange is finally getting released? I think that's a bit too much to read into. But I think that's a bit too much to read into, if I'm honest. I don't think that's in part because of it, if I'm honest. But we could make that distinction if we really wanted to. But I wouldn't. I don't think so, if I'm honest. Right. So Gaza. So one of the biggest problems is how. And this clip I'm going to show you is an old one from the BBC. It's all the way back to the 3rd of November 2023, this first one. And the reason I'm showing you this is because this highlights what this woman does, who understandably, you can just tell by her facial reactions in this interview and the words that she says, just how difficult this is going to be for her. Oh God, hold on a second. Don't do that. Please don't do that. You can tell by you'll tell by her facial reactions and whatnot how she's feeling about having this interview, because of how the interviewer speaks and talks about this. Speaks a lot of volumes about how the mainstream media reports on the situation in Gaza. But bear in mind, obviously, this was less than a month after the October 7th attack as well.
Speak to Tanya Hassan. She's a paediatric intensive care and humanitarian doctor with MSF. Tanya, thank you very much for being with us. Can we start with the news that we've had from MSF tonight, that some of your doctors have got through the Rafah crossing today? What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I just want to clarify, I'm not speaking on behalf of Doctors Without Borders today. I do work for them, but in this interview, I'm not speaking on their behalf.
Okay.
I can confirm that 22 members of Doctors Without Borders have successfully crossed the Rafah border, but I can't comment further.
Could you tell us, I mean, obviously you work with them and you know them well. Can you tell me what the situation is in Gaza right now for those who've stayed behind?
So my relationship with the Gaza Strip over the last 10 years has been as a teacher, not through MSF. I go and I train with a group of physicians and surgeons from Oxford University. I also do work for MSF and I speak on their behalf for the international community on this particular issue. So what I will be referring to in the rest of this interview with you is my relationship with colleagues in Gaza who don't necessarily work for MSF.
Okay.
I have a long-standing relationship with the medical community in the Gaza Strip through my training trips over the last decade.
And are you in contact with them? Are you in regular contact?
I am.
And what are they telling you?
So I just want to state it's a very hard act to follow after listening to Biden's speech because, you know, what I'm about to tell you just seems so such a shock compared to the rest of the narrative that I've been listening to, waiting for my interview. This is an avalanche of human suffering that's 100% man-made. It is the worst humanitarian catastrophe I've experienced in my lifetime and in my growingly long career in humanitarian medicine. And it's burning through the hearts of every single humanitarian that I know. You know, I'm going to paint a picture for you of the degree of suffering that we're seeing. People keep asking me about medical aid and hospitals and the situation of the hospitals. The entire hospital healthcare system collapsed almost a week ago. It was announced on TV for the whole world to see. And in that week, there has been indiscriminate bombardment. And I don't even know if indiscriminate is the right term, because it's targeting healthcare facilities, ambulances, churches, mosques, schools, refugee camps, densely populated refugee camps, wiping out entire families in a second, entire multi-generational extended families in a second. There are almost 1,000 families in the Gaza Strip who have had at least 2 members of their family, at least 2 members killed in the last 3 weeks. There are almost 4,000 children who have been killed and identified, excluding almost 1,000 children whose bodies are still trapped under the rubble.
Remember, this is the third. This was a while ago. This is all the way back in November. The date today is the 26th of June, 2024. Okay, that's how long ago this clip was. So just remember that when you're listening to this.
Some of them may be alive for a long period before they ultimately die.
And what she's saying there about those stuck under the rubble, there were reports, there's been recent reports that more than roughly around 20,000 children are dead, presumably missing or trapped under the rubbles, or separated from families and whatnot. 20,000. A huge chunk of children are unaccounted for. A huge chunk of them are obviously dead. A huge chunk of them are under the rubbles of some of the buildings within Gaza. Some of them are probably just wandering the streets all by themselves with nothing. And nothing.
The rubble. And I'm sorry if there are any young, children watching this. Perhaps this is a good time to ask them to leave the room. But I think it's important that I paint a picture, particularly when I'm following a news narrative that almost dismisses this avalanche of suffering that is unprecedented in modern times.
And this is the problem. The media, the mainstream media, specifically here, are not highlighting this. They're not highlighting this, and they're not saying anything about this. They report the numbers, they report that there's issues, they report suffering, but they don't report it in the narrative of those who are actually there on the fucking ground that sees exactly what is happening. And they know, the mainstream media, that all the mainstream medias, they fucking know what is happening. They know because they see the footage every fucking day on social media. And they do not highlight it. Do you know who has the fucking balls to highlight it? Al Jazeera does. And what's happened to them? They got kicked out of Israel for exposing it. There was a story that I saw, I think either today or yesterday, and I saw the video footage, and I'm not going to share it with you, of and Al Jazeera showed it on their broadcast as well, of an Israeli attack dog charging and attacking a 66-year-old Palestinian woman in her home, and you could hear her screaming because the dog had a body camera on. Are you going to hear about that in the mainstream fucking media? No, you're not. Because they don't want to highlight this. And someone had a comment, I think it was today or yesterday, and I want to share this with you guys because this really triggered me. Someone in the comments had the audacity to tell me, yeah, and I'm just a fucking YouTuber here, guys, yeah, because this is how angry I am. Had the audacity to tell me that the IDF are like 99% complicit in their actions and they're always held accountable. And I literally put, like, I only needed and I put literally 2 clips I sent, yeah, in a reply saying, oh, so have these been accounted for? There are fucking thousands of video footages online. Some of you guys, understandably, are not looking at them. But there are so many online. Daily. Online. Of children. I mean, there are children in such horrific conditions. I mean, we've seen the devastation. Like, there's so much evidence of damnation that the IDF have done. I mean, literally, I talked about, yeah, a story from Middle Eastern Eye about how they brutally beat the living shit out of Palestinian people in their prisons. There have been photos and videos of them stripped down to their underwear by the IDF. The literal footage is right there. And some dude on the internet has the nerve to tell me that the IDF are complicit. The evidence is so damning, it's insane. There's a reason why South Africa has a case against them. And a case that not only is building credibility, but nations are backing it because they are seeing this every day. They are feeling the pressure from publics around the world and from their own governments that they are seeing what is happening here. They are seeing this. And then a bit later on, I'm going to share a very powerful speech. I don't know who the person is, but I'm going to be sharing a very powerful speech that highlights just how fucking awful the mainstream media has been when it comes to dealing with this crisis. Reporting this crisis, sorry.
You know, there's an acronym in the Gaza Strip right now. You know, I'm a pediatric intensive care doctor. I see a lot of suffering in my career. There's an acronym that is unique to the Gaza Strip, and it's WCNSF. Wounded child, no surviving family. Children, and it is used not infrequently in the last 3 weeks. It was coined in the last three weeks. One physician told me a few days ago that a little girl came in wounded, and she had a piece of paper in her pocket that she handed to him. He sent me a picture of the piece of paper. It had 27 names on it, and she said, "These are the members of my family that were with me in my home. Please look for them. Please look for them under the rubble. Don't look for this one," and she points to the name of her sister. "I know she's already dead." This is a 10-year-old little girl. Wounded child, no surviving family should not exist as an acronym. And to follow President Biden as he continues to justify and to warmonger, all I can say is this has to stop. It's a collective stain on our humanity. It's a stain on our collective humanity.
And you could tell, because she's on live television, you could tell she's really straining her voice, her what she really wanted to say about Biden and what she really wanted to say about how the US government has been responding to it. Now, obviously, their tone has changed since then a little bit, the US, but you can feel from her how upsetting, but I also feel a great deal of anger on the inside of how she feels about all this.
Tanya, let me ask you, you paint such a vivid and horrific picture. You really do, and I understand that these are your friends who you've worked with and how difficult that must be. You're not alone. I've been hearing today reading testimony today from Philip Lazzarini, who's the Commissioner General of UNRWA. He's been speaking to the UN Security Council. He said this: the sanitary conditions are appalling. People live on very little bread and whatever is left of some water. 70 of their staff members have been killed, and they are looking after 670,000 people in their refugee centres. Is there any sign from what you're hearing of a humanitarian pause or pauses that could be negotiated?
And this, right there, guys, right there, look at his face and what he said there. The wording and your facial reactions sends a big fucking picture, tells a big fucking picture right there, guys. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to monetize this live stream. Not I was going to anyway. But that face there feels very smug. Like, and the thing that infuriates me the most, he's wearing a fucking poppy. Like, I know he has a job. I know that journalists, I know people, you know, they have to obviously be a certain level of this, but I just feel like he's just been in the narrative here. It makes me angry, you know, because when they speak to like, even like, the thing is like when I hear Channel 4 talking about the Gaza, you can feel from the news anchors and the reporters who talk about it, you can feel that. I didn't feel any of that from this fucking guy.
I'm not a politician, but the word pause to me makes no sense. You know, you pause to nourish and hydrate a population before you kill them. It just...
Exactly. That's why everyone stopped using the word pause, because we won't just want the guns to stop firing. We want them to be put down and stay down. And again, a reminder, this tweet was all the way back on the 3rd of November 2023 to remind people.
Just doesn't make any sense for me. You stop the bombardment. That is what the entire global community should be pushing for and should be insisting on. You know, and I think in leading up to my introduction, I think you interviewed somebody who said something very similar, a Gazan who said something very similar. You know, the priority is not giving us aid. You need to stop the indiscriminate bombardment. So I think, yes, what is needed is a humanitarian truce or a ceasefire, global intervention, things that were voted for by the overwhelming majority of countries on this planet a few days ago in the General Assembly of the United Nations, yet they're not adhered to and are completely disregarded by the powers that be. Two powers, to be specific.
Yeah, I'm going to have to leave.
Yeah, and that's right. What happened to the United Nations? What happened to their say? What happened to this international community that everyone stand behind? Clearly, the US don't give a shit. No, we're going to stick by Israel no matter what. No, we don't care what you lot have to say. It's absolutely infuriating. Absolutely infuriating. This is the powerful speech. I'm going to play this, and everyone today who's rallying behind Israel is going to lose. And here is a real reality check.
And everyone today who is rallying behind Israel is going to lose. I mean, obviously they're going to lose, because rallying behind Israel just shows that you are still stuck in this old colonialist, imperialist, racist, Western supremacist mentality that the entire global South rejects. And frankly, not just the global South. I mean, there are huge numbers of people in the West itself who reject this. The majority of people on Earth reject this. So you see, you're showing the whole global South, you're showing the whole world that you can't change, that you're the same as you ever were. I think the West, and America in particular, needs to understand that the whole world is seeing you for what you are. Your stance on Palestine makes it starkly obvious to everyone that you are not actually mature or developed enough to deserve a leadership role in world affairs, and certainly not in the affairs of the global South. Certainly not in all of the countries that have been your victims all these years. I mean, there's no repentance on your part. There's no contrition. There's no moral improvement or change in you. You are exactly the same people who wiped out the Native Americans. You're the same people who regarded Africans as subhumans. You're the same people who murdered hundreds of thousands of Japanese civilians in a matter of seconds at Hiroshima and Nagasaki. You're the same people who dropped napalm on civilian villages in Vietnam. I mean, on and on. Nothing changes, and nothing exposes this today more than your stance on Palestine. Nothing demonstrates that you have not changed or developed in centuries more than your shameless support for Israel. And believe me, you're alienating the whole planet by this. When you back colonialist, Zionist violence against the Palestinians, everyone sees it as emblematic of your whole attitude to the non-Western world, to the non-white world. Everyone in the global South identifies with the Palestinians. Everyone in the Muslim world identifies with the Palestinians. When you declare your support for total war against the Palestinians, when you declare your support for a psychopath like Netanyahu calling for basically a final solution against the Palestinians, well, everyone in the global South gets the message. You are deranged, immoral, barbaric, bloodthirsty, racist savages. And all your talk about human rights and the rule of law and all of that is all just hideous hypocrisy. You don't mean any of it, and you never did.
I mean, where's the lie? I mean, where is the lie, guys? I mean, absolutely nailed it, really, there. I'm gonna, it's such a good speech. I really wish I knew the full speech. I need to find this more on that, because that couldn't have been more damning, destructive, of breaking down the America for all it was. Absolutely brilliant speech. Hands down, one of the best speeches I've ever heard. Really speaking such truth to power of how I feel, and I'm sure how many of you feel about what's happening there. And it just goes against everything, the morals. Good to see you, Alistair Kier. Hope you're doing well. It just goes against everything that we morally believe in, that we morally the morals that we believe in, that, you know, the humanity that is in us. It goes against what we have been taught, what we have been raised, what we have been born to understand, to treat each other with dignity, with equality, with the same respect that we have to one another, regardless of who you are, regardless of your sex, regardless of your religion, regardless of your nationality, regardless of your religious beliefs, regardless of disabilities that you may or may not have. Everyone is different on this planet, but we should always try to treat each other like equals. But America has, without a shadow of a doubt, you know, I remember as a kid, I always looked up, you know, I always thought as America was one of the greatest countries in the world. But as I've grown and learned over time, America really is the bastards of the world sometimes, you know. And we talk about, and don't get me wrong, Russia are just as horrible, because it shows that famous saying, guys, power corrupts all, and that's clearly could not be more clearer here. Yeah, it's unbelievable, guys. And again, just to emphasize here, once again to remind you, Israel does not give a shit what anybody else says here.
אנחנו מטילים מצור מוחלט על העיר עזה. אין חשמל, אין מזון, אין מים, אין דלק. הכל סגור. אנחנו נלחמים בחיות אדם ואנחנו נוהגים בהתאם. אנחנו...
And everyone today who is...
Well, I have ordered a complete siege of Gaza. No electricity, no food, no fuel, no water. This is 25th of June, by the way. We are fighting human animals and we act accordingly. This is Yaron Galek, who is the people are protesting outside the William Huck Hotel. This is the human animal the US is hosting. But there are some people who really appreciate the fight and the support, and we need that. So to end with the Gaza stuff, guys, very powerful message here, and we want to send our love to you, to her, and everyone inside the Gaza Strip.
Hi, I'm Ghera from Gaza. I just want to tell you one thing. Your word is your weapon. Don't say I can't. Don't say I'm tired. Don't say I'm done. No. Our Palestinian issue is the issue for the whole world, especially here in Gaza. We are starving. We are so tired. So please talk about Gaza all the time. If you just have one follower, this one follower can make lots of differences. Please stand with us.
Not gonna. Yeah, I think that's enough of Gaza, you guys. I'm gonna have a read what you guys are saying in the chat. I mean, it's been pretty brutal. It's been pretty brutal, without a shadow of a doubt. All makes U.S. corporation money. Yeah, that is 100% true, Matt. 100% true. That's very deliberable, AK. This bullshit is so familiar, says number 3. Yep. Yankee detectives are always on the TV causes killers in America. Work 7 weeks a day. Never mind the stars and stripes. Let's print the Watergate tapes. I'm so bored with the USA. I'm so bored with Sir Larry the Cat. Yeah. The clash, hate and war, the only thing we got today. And if I close my eyes, it will not go away. You have to deal with it. It is the currency. Homelessness is also a collective stain on humanity. Not so dramatic, but it persists as number 3. Evil will likely always exist. The point is to fight at every turn, says one angry pagan. Setting dogs on them sounds very German, says Simon, says 55. Unfortunately, that's not the only footage that I've seen today of a dog attacking a Palestinian. I saw one in the West Bank of a young boy being attacked by a dog, and the only reason that the IDF pulled him off was because they were laughing. The only reason. So yeah. Does anyone know what's happened with No Justice? Oh God, I hope she's her live stream went down. I hope she's back up and running. For those who are watching the debate. So guys, I'm going to do one more. There is one clip that I found that I'm not going to share because Max already covered it on his video. I'll just show you the picture of it. If you haven't seen it, I do recommend going and checking out Robert Spear's video on this. Conducted a group of Conservative voters here, asking who is planning to vote Conservative on July the 4th. No one raised their hands. We asked these former Tory voters to write down a few words and how they view the Conservative Party they voted. If you haven't seen the video, please go and check Max's Robert Spear's YouTube channel and check out his video on this. I think it's very good insight on this. So the only reason I'm not playing it is because of that. But we're going to end on 2 videos here from Kier Starmer. Now, I have my doubts about Kier Starmer, but one thing we need in this world, guys, is a bit of hope and some optimism, and maybe even a bit of truth. Now, I don't know how truthful Kier Starmer is in this, and you can argue that all of this is BS from him, but we need to hold on to something. So the conversation between Gary Neville and Kier Starmer, 14 years of Conservative nonsense, finally grown-ups are in the room. Gary Neville says this country is desperately disappointed in politicians. They often use language that they're all the same, 2 cheeks are the same, backside and whatnot. And I thought this was a great question to put to Kier Starmer, and I thought his response was very good as well.
Yeah, the country are desperately disappointed, just generally, in politicians. They quite often use language like they're all the same, 2 cheeks are the same backside. How do you change that? Because that is something that's been set now for quite a few years.
Action, not words. I don't think people are going to believe that politics has changed until they see it has changed. The first thing is returning politics to service. It's a public service. You're here to serve the country. It really matters that we can get people to say, I trust you on the economy, I trust you on defence, and I trust you on the borders. What I've said by way of description of what would we do if we were able to come into government is a decade of national renewal. A decade is because it's going to take time. Renewal because it's fixing the fundamentals. But the national bit's really important because what I'm saying there to all voters, Labour, but Conservative as well, which is if you think that improving your lot and improving our country is a project that you would want to get behind, then this is a national project which you can be part of, even if you don't vote Labour or haven't traditionally voted Labour.
What the British people...
The word that he puts there right off the bat is he says action, not words. And this is how he will win over hearts and minds. And this is where, when he comes into power, he has got to show those actions. His government has got to show those actions. And I really... Him saying this gives me optimism. I am still sceptical of Labour, without a shadow of a doubt, guys. And I know how my friends up in Scotland feel about Labour, and rightfully so, because rightfully, in my opinion, they should be entitled to another independent referendum and be able to choose and forge their own destiny. And I am with you guys on that. But as of right here, right now, in the situation that the entire the UK is in, we need to see change, not just hear it in words. We need to see that change. And if Kier Starmer delivers a change, it may not be all the change we want, but if it means that things are starting working again, you have to give credit where credit is due. There have been things in these 14 years where the Conservatives have done one or two small things, may not have been the highlights of things, where I've actually given credit where credit is due, or where they've called out things where they've done it right. Doesn't mean that I support them, doesn't mean I'm in favour of them. It just means that if I see something that I think is good and right, I will call it out. And it's not going to make me a Labour supporter, guys. Because of the past, Labour's past speaks a lot of volumes, which is why many people have questions and doubts about it. But we need some hope and we need some optimism. I generally do hope that he gives more powers to Wales, to Scotland, to Northern Ireland, to be able to do more than what they're able to do, at least. That is in my hope, for the other nations, not just for England as well.
People really want to know is what is going to change day one.
We're going to hit the ground running from the very get-go, day one. First, obviously, stabilise the economy. We have to get that back under control. Secondly, making sure that we're bringing down the waiting list, 40,000 appointments each and every week. That's 2 million a year extra. Bring down that waiting list. A border security command. This is the command that will smash the gangs that are running the vile trade of putting people in boats across the channel. Step 4, set up Great British Energy. We can do that from the start. A publicly owned company generating renewable energy, owned by the taxpayer, making money for the taxpayer. Making sure we're dealing with antisocial behaviour. 13,000 neighbourhood police. We can start on that project straight away. And the other thing we can start straight away, day one, sleeves rolled up, is recruiting the 6,500 teachers we need in our secondary schools, particularly in core subjects like maths. Now, they're the first steps. They're not the only thing by a long stretch.
So you've got a team already working on that day one preparation 4 months out?
Yep. I said, I don't want you having a conversation on day one. I need you to deliver for me. So you need to be ready to deliver from the get-go. And so that's the footing I've had them on.
If that is what he's saying there is true, that gives me really renewed hope that they have been preparing for that day one. That day that they step in there, straight away, off the bat, no discussions, let's just get on with it. Like, literally, no wasting time, get straight on with it. No faffing around, just getting on with it. And I really hope that's the case. I really hope that's the case. No, like, wasting time with pictures and all that kind of nonsense. Just getting on there and getting the work done. Getting whatever legislation you need to get done. Preparations and all that kind of stuff. Just get on it and get it done. I really hope so. Damn it. I forgot to mute the mic. I got the last two, but I'd missed the other two. Yeah, I'm sweating like a pig here, guys.
Mum and Dad were here now, in these cottages, what would they be saying to you?
They'd be having a real moment. And so am I, actually. If she was back here now, and I was in a race to be a candidate for the Prime Minister of the country, they'd be really proud. It'd be a real incredible moment. It really would.
That sounds like a brilliant place to finish.
Thank you.
All the best to you, Kier.
Now, obviously, I know how, like I said, I know how people feel about Labour. I really do. But seriously, like, after the last 14 years, we need some optimism. And I really hope he brings that. I really, really do. yeah, I was going to play that last clip, but you know what? I'm going to leave it there, guys, because yeah, I'm I'm sweating like an absolute. I'm sweating so much, guys. So, but yeah, I'll just come and see what you guys are saying in the chat. Thank you, Alistair, Kier and Jow. To be fair, my fear is that this new Labour government will undo things Scottish government SNPs have done to mitigate Tory policy and shut down Hollywood or make it a talking shop. I hope that's not the case, and I honestly hope that's not the case. Obviously, I'm going to go out on a limb and say they probably haven't said that in their Scottish Labour manifesto. Only Dave McGuinness can tell me on that. I don't know if he's read it or if he's gone out of his way to look at it. It probably hasn't. He's probably just used it as toilet paper, most likely. So I'm joking, guys. I'm joking. I don't think that's the case, and I don't think that's the case, and I could be wrong. If that is the case, obviously, they deserve to be called out and for every single of it. We watched the politician's picture show the acting loudly and let the blind don't know, says Solari the Cat. There are systematic failures. Nothing will really work until we address the underlying problems. Yeah, in Scotland they are doubling up on councils to take control from the SNP. Yeah, I know the polls have been. I know, but the polls are saying something. The polls are saying something different in what you guys are saying. That they are going to take some seats in there, but I hope that's not the case. I hope, as the SNP, do not lose seats to Labour, and that they hold what they have. I really do. I really hope that the polls are wrong from what I've read. I know one guy who isn't bothered to vote, and many others feel the same, says number 3. Yeah, many are not. They just count their money, says Matt. Human and animals, high ironic. Yeah, from that clip there. So guys, I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone who's come along. Thank you all for your comments from today's Snowflake Watch. I really appreciate all your thoughts and feedbacks, guys. Let me know what you guys thought about some of the things that we covered today, talking about Julian Hassan, some of the clips that we saw from them, the post office scandal, that vile piece of shit that we was talking about as well, the horrific atrocities that have taken place in Gaza again. Obviously, they're not easy to talk about, guys, as I'm sure you guys can understand. But I do this out of all the live streams, guys. This is the one that I feel more passion for than any other, because I can because of what we actually see, as opposed to just reading it and giving my thoughts. We can actually see it and give our reactions, and I think that's really powerful. So, so just again a reminder before you guys go. If you want to join me on Discord give me like about 5 minutes or so. You're more than welcome to do so. It's not going to be an after chat. What I'm going to be doing is I don't know if it's already started. I don't know if it's still going or not, or if it's already finished. But I want to watch the BBC live debate one more tonight on Discord, and then tomorrow morning I'm going to be watching it. I'm going to be live streaming it from 10 a.m. UK time tomorrow. That's 10 a.m. UK time. I was going to do it 12 p.m., but I'm going to do it 10 a.m. UK time, guys. So that's just after the morning brew on Labour Social. So for those of you who watch Labour Social, they can come straight on that to me, because I want to watch it in full with you guys. So, but I'm going to host it on Discord, but I really want to watch it without people talking, if we can do that, guys. Whether I will do another after chat in this week, I don't know. It depends. I may do another after chat on Friday. A last thing I want to just address as well. So I haven't looked at the Scottish SNP manifesto yet too much. I'm a little bit concerned that it may drag on for too long, because I'm doing it at 8 o'clock at night. Now, obviously, I do not want to be live streaming all the way up to 11 o'clock at night, covering it, understandably so. So at some point tomorrow, I will have a look at it, and I will make a conscious decision whether or not I'm going to do it in 2 parts. I may do half and half, like half tomorrow, and I may do cover the rest of it on a premiere video instead of a live stream, and cover the second half of it and record it on another day or something. No promises. I can't promise that I'm going to cover it all in one live stream. I don't think I'll be able to, if I'm honest, but we will see. I may even change. I may even I may even do it. I may even change the time slot of the live stream for the SNP manifesto. I may move it even to like 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. Something like that instead. Just because I don't want to be streaming all the way up till 11 o'clock at night. Understandably so, guys. So so keep an eye out. Keep an eye out for notifications. Keep an eye out for the live stream schedule. Yeah, so on that manifesto. And a reminder, guys, if you haven't already seen it, I covered the Plaid Cymru manifesto that went just over 2 hours long. That premiere video dropped today, so if you want to check that out, you're more than welcome to do so. It's been timestamped as well, so you guys can see whatever part you want to see in terms of Wales' position, what Plaid Cymru are offering the people of Wales, and what its part is going to do as well. So you guys want to check that out, you're more than welcome to do so. So guys, thank you all for coming along, and hopefully I'll see you guys in the Discord server, and hopefully I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. But if not, obviously take care as always, have a great evening. But just before you head out, not me, the gang behind me want to say a massive thank you as well. Ollie would like to say thank you earlier, Alistair Kier, for the gifted memberships in the premiere video earlier today. Much appreciated it as well. The gang really appreciates everyone's love and support. Everyone here. But just before you run away, guys, if you haven't already, please hit the like button. Be greatly appreciated. Share it across social media so others are notified of this video. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing, because it really does help support the channel. And if you want to go one step further, financially support me and the work that I do here, you could do so by becoming a YouTube member for as little as 99p, or join me on Rumble or Patreon for exclusive content on those platforms. So thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.